EJ Scott, Assistant Costume Curator, Killerton House, the National Trust. Today I'd like to talk to you about what I believe to be a very important piece of everyday dress. And it's this denim outfit. It consists of a denim jacket and matching denim jeans with a flared bell bottom. It's by a company called Goul och Blair, and we know that because not only does it have its label in the back, but the name of the company is embossed onto the copper buttons as a design feature, and it's from around 1975. Now, what is denim? It's a twill cloth yarn, and traditionally it would have been dyed on the warp thread on a rope in indigo, and then the weft thread, the horizontal thread, would have been left undyed in its natural colour. That's a white greyish colour, and you can see the consequences of that, because when it's woven together, what you have is that the material is blue on one side and it's white on the other. The denim jean itself was invented in 1873 by two American men, Jacob Davis and Levi Strauss. And of course they invented it not as an item of fashion, but as workwear. It was traditionally worn by ranch hands, by labourers, train drivers and prison inmates. And because of the kind of man that wore it, working very hard, it became associated with the notion of a hyper-tough masculine identity. And this was exacerbated in the 1950s by the screen icon James Dean, when unfortunately riding his TR5 Triumph trophy motorcycle, he was killed in a white t-shirt, which is also an American invention, and wearing his blue jeans, his Levi jeans. James Dean said that he modelled his image on another very important, gritty, realist American actor, Marlon Brando, who of course was also famous for wearing Levi's. This company, on the other hand, was responding to the fact that Levi's were not available largely outside of the USA, but in fact jeans were in great demand. And so when they opened in Stockholm in 1966, by the early 1970s, when they introduced their famous sling, or bell-bottom, the company became so popular that legend has it the stores opened to queues down the street, and staff literally had to sell the jeans straight from the counter to the customer without even managing to put them on the shelves. And the company Goul and Blair was also made particularly given rock and roll status, if you like, when Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones wore their bell-bottoms on stage. The popularity of jeans can be seen in real life evidence when you look at the figures that were released by the International Cotton Institute, and they show that in 1970 12 million pairs of jeans were sold in Britain to the value of £26 million, but by 1976 38 million pairs were sold to a value of £273,000, and worldwide in 1976 170 million pairs of jeans were bought, and that value was £1.6 billion, the industry, making Levi Strauss the largest manufacturer of clothing in the world. So what happens to the status of jeans when you sell 170 million pairs of them in a single year? Well, what happens is clearly they become no longer workwear, but instead items of fashion. And that's exactly what we can see in this outfit here. In fact, you could almost say that there's a high camp fashion here, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zips, when in actual fact all of the zips and the flap open into one pocket. It's a uselessness that is a display of fashionable design, and it's this camp quality that Susan Sontag defines using adjectives like playfulness, irony, exaggeration over content, a theatricalization, precisely what we can see here. And it's camp that is quite often associated with the gay movement, and in fact this being made in 1975 fits very well with the dress history and the design history with the cultural and social history of the time, because 1975, of course, was the height of the gay liberation movement in America and elsewhere in the world that had been building in momentum since the 1969 Stonewall riots on June 28. Now, 1975 was significant for the gay liberation movement due particularly to one man, Leonard Matlovich, who very bravely was pictured on the front cover of the Time magazine wearing his Air Force uniform. He was a decorated Air Force sergeant who'd served in the Vietnam War, and he came out as gay in that photograph in response to the anti-gay laws that were in place in America at the time. Not only are the design features of this camp and reflect that design sensibility, but also the denim was being picked up as a material that was being undermined or subverted, if you like, this hypermasculinity and this heteronormativity by gay men. So it was featured in, for example, a very famous gay comic strip called Tom of Finland, and also Al Pacino wore denim, was clad in denim throughout his appearance in the movie Cruising, where he was an undercover cop on the gay scene of San Francisco. This subvertive notion actually can be read through the design features, but when we looked into the provenance, we did actually find out that the owner of this outfit was indeed gay. And it brings us to an interesting conclusion, because in 2012, two very famous material culturalists and anthropological historians, social historians, Daniel Miller and Sophie Woodward, published a book called Blue Jeans, The Art of the Ordinary. And in it they had studied a North London borough that was very multicultural, and they had found exactly the opposite to what I'm saying, that in fact people nowadays were wearing jeans to assimilate, not to be different at all and not to make a statement. So we can see that jeans have actually come, and denim particularly, has actually come full circle. But what's interesting to me is that by reading the intimate details, the intricate details of this dress history, we haven't overlooked the deeper meaning of the outfit by glancing only at its ordinariness. In fact, what we've done is we've unlocked some of the hidden LGBTQI histories that are often tucked away and not delved into in our collections of historical dress in historical houses and within museums. So using design history, social history, dress history, we have managed to open up our collections and reflect broader history.